was not a call. This was something that just, I think Brent said, I'm going. This thing I know, Todd said, I'm going. I'm like, I'm going. It wasn't really a kind of, it was just kind of one of those things where we always wanted to kind of catch up. But Coach Palmer and Coach Rowland, I mean, we've just seen so much. And Kim was there. I'm trying to think who all was there. Aaron Decker's on our call this morning. He was there. I'm just thinking about all the people that we met with and the things that we're trying to learn as we move forward. And, you know, guys, we go through trials and tribulations in life. And whether you admit that or not, that's business. And I think sometimes we have to go through some things to understand that business is tough sometimes. And we don't ever talk about it, because what does Ken Bailey say? We always talk about the end result, the fun part. We don't talk about the hard parts to get to the end part. I mean, I never talk about that when people always talk about my blue jean factory, and they don't know about the 50 and 60 hour, not going to bed and never leaving the plant for 3 days at a time, trying to get past to the next level. They always want to hear the end result. They want to hear about what, the $2 million a year that I made and the $3 million a year I made. That part they like. They don't want to hear about the part of the grinding and the sleepless nights and all the problems that we go through to get there. But guys, we're coming through the tunnel, and Brent and I talked briefly about this, and Todd and I have. I mean, all of us have, about where we're headed with the company and the things. And I'm going to kind of just set the stage. We've asked for. I think everybody knows there's been some transition, so we've asked a couple of people to be on that are involved in that transition. So, and I cannot pronounce Darren's last name. Brent, you want to try that?
We're going to throw it off to Brent to introduce them, but
yeah.
Here's what I just want to say one thing before I do throw it off to Brent, and then Ken Bailey and Deb will all be here to kind of ask questions after they kind of give everything. But we all know, being a publicly traded company is a really good idea because you can kind of tag both sides. But we've been in a quagmire of bureaucracy. The RX owners' hands have been handcuffed for 2 years trying to get things resolved, better websites, one-step resolution and rep services, all the things we all know that we kind of overcome. But when you're run by a board and you're publicly traded, there's a lot of rules that aren't when there's a private company. So I'm probably, from a business standpoint, not necessarily from a stock standpoint, but from a business standpoint, I might be the most excited I've been in 20 years. Because when you can come out on the other side of a Chapter 11 as a $300 million revenue company with zero debt, you're the best positioned company in the network marketing industry. I don't care what nobody says. Chris, you and I were talking to an owner of a company the other day, and he says, nobody's going to be able to compete with y'all now. He said, how can I compete with y'all? I got all this stuff from trying to expand that I'm stuck with. So, nobody ever wishes for a bad day, but by God's grace, we all now are in a really good day. So, Brent, let's throw it off to you. And Ken, did you want to say anything about that before we throw it off
just real quick
to Brent to introduce him?
Just real quick, first of all, I'm a Tennessee fan today, so we'll keep them all happy. But even more than that, folks, I'm an RX fan. I'm a Miranda fan. I'm a Noni fan. Because you know what? No matter who wins the game today, it doesn't really change our future all that much. But this company is changing our future. Go ahead, Brent.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm actually still in Utah. They're ready to get rid of me out here. We've been here all week. And what was funny is, it was not anything other than we made a call and said we're coming in on Monday and we might just sit and hunker at the doorstep, and so we flew out or drove out, and that's where we've been this week. And here's what I'll say before I introduce our owners is what makes up a company. It's the people. It's the people, it's the connections, it's the friends, it's the family, it's the unity, it's the bond. That's what makes up a company. It's the amazing products. It's the products that are changing lives in the world. It's the financial aspect. When those paychecks arrive on Friday, it's helping people make it from paycheck to paycheck. That's really what it's all about. Me and Chris Doyle said that this morning was, people all around our world live paycheck to paycheck. And we have an opportunity. And as we set out this week with all the leaders that was in at our corporate headquarters that came in on their own dime, these owners are smiling from ear to ear because they watch leaders come in on their own dime, not saying, hey, pay for my hotel. But we just want to sit with you. We want to break bread with you. We want to look you in the eye. And what we got out of this week was a lot of answered questions, a lot of clarity. And you're probably sitting on the call right now going, man, I've been a part of a hype call. I've been a part of the, over the years. But at the end of the day, the questions you got in your head are the same questions we had in our head. And over the course of the next few weeks and starting today on this call, you're going to get those questions answered. All of them. All of them. There's not a question you got in your head that these owners are not going to be able to answer. And so might not get to all of them today, but I promise you this, there's going to be some communication coming out this week. And you just stay tuned. Like Todd said, a $300 million company coming out of the ground with no debt, with products that impact the world and paychecks that are hitting people's bank accounts every Friday. You got that, and you've got something amazing that the world needs. And so it's my honor. We're actually going to bring two of our owners on this morning, and I'm going to bring one on right now. And I just want to say this about Mr. John Wadsworth. I've had the privilege of getting to know him. I've had the privilege of working with him in the field as we've launched some new markets and had some conversations and been on Zooms and dealt with, potential prospects and brand partners. And I truly am, my heartbeat is like popping right this morning, because I'm excited. I'm excited for all of us, and of where we're going. And so one of the things I can say about John is he never says no to an opportunity to get on and talk and share. So without further ado, I want to introduce Mr. John Wadsworth. John, thanks for being here this morning.
Thank you, Brent. What an amazing experience this is. I'm in the same Utah office that Brent is. We're in rooms right next to each other. Can't be in the same room because we don't want to talk over each other. But this week has been absolutely extraordinary. As Brent and Chris and Ken and Todd described, we've had this groundswell. All these people have been jumping on planes and hopping over to Utah because they're so passionate about our future. And really, that's what I want to talk about. I want to circle back to what Ken said. I'm a fan of us. I'm a fan of our futures. I'm a fan of what this company can do to transform our lives and what we can do to help other people transform their lives. This really is an extraordinary inflection point. It's a turning point for our lives, for our futures, for our business. We're a solid company. We've got no debt, and we have a huge, bright future ahead of us that preserves all of the things that we love. Some of you may not have met me before. I'll give you a quick background. I've been in this industry for 25 years. And the coolest part is I've been with the same company for 25 years. So what does that mean? That means that I've experienced what it's like to have a consistent pathway to success that's stable and long-term. And every single one of us longs to build something that lasts forever, something that we can pass on generationally. We long to just put our heart and soul into something and know that it's going to last. And that's where we're at. We're part of a company that has owners and executives that are in it for the long haul, that want to build a forever business that you can really put your heart and soul into. Okay. If I think back through my life to different inflection points, things that changed me, that locked me into a dream that I always had for freedom. Every single one of the leaders that we have on the call, you've seen their lifestyle. You've seen the freedoms that they get to enjoy. I love it when I call Chris Doyle and he's sitting on his boat in the river and enjoying the beautiful sunset. I mean, that's what we all long for. That's what we dream for, right? That kind of freedom. Brent Palmer gets to travel the world. I noticed today when we were getting onto the call that we've got people joining from all over the world. We're truly a worldwide community. I see people from South Africa. I see people from all over the world just yearning to join this community because we have a future, because we can get that freedom, and it's health freedom, it's financial freedom. There's so many elements of that freedom that we can all lean in together help ourselves achieve and reach out and broaden our audience so that we can help other people to achieve this. Now, just some quick, small stories about my life, which kind of brought me to this point. I grew up all over the world, came from a really big family, had 12 kids. My dad was foreign service, so we moved every 4 years. So if you want to live a life where you get ripped out of your comfort zone and you kind of get thrown into a new country and you got to learn a new language and learn a new culture and everything's brand new, you kind of get used to adapting. I think that was very, very helpful. Got my first job when I was 11, kind of ambitious as a little kid. It was a job delivering papers. So I'd get up, I'd set my alarm. It was one of those old red digital alarm clocks that has that horrible buzzy noise. It would go off at 4 o'clock in the morning. I have to get up and fold the papers and stick them in this metal cart that made a lot of noise. It's kind of rickety. And I'm walking around in the neighborhood in the pitch black, a little bit scary. So my dad took a shovel handle and he cut it in half and he drilled a hole in the end and he put a leather strap in there. And I'd hold that in one hand because you'd be delivering papers and these dogs would come racing at you right out of the bushes and you had to have something or you'd just be scared out of your mind. But I'd take a 2-mile route early in the morning before school when it was still pitch black and deliver these papers. And so that started by teaching me discipline, but this wasn't an hourly job. You know, my first taste of being in employment was not checking in a clock. It was having something where you felt some ownership. Because on Saturdays, I'd go out in the afternoon and knock on doors and try and get more subscribers. And I knew that the more I knocked doors and the more subscribers I got, the more money I'd make that month. So I was really fortunate that way because I never got locked into just doing an hourly job where everything I earned was dependent on how many hours I spent. You know, that's the first step in a transformation, the first step in a mindset transformation that you guys, I think, have all gone through. And something that we want to share with others. You can get out of this hourly mindset and get into the ownership mindset, an ownership mindset where the sky's the limit. And you wake up in the morning and you can go out and get subscribers, just like what we're doing. We're trying to get people to subscribe onto a monthly program that changes their health and helps them have a pathway to freedom like Chris and Todd and Ken and everyone else, Brent, you know, all of these awesome coaches and leaders that we have on, they've achieved it. And they're here to help lift everyone up towards that dream. I ended up getting ripped out of that where we were living and had to move again, right? Because it happened every 4 years. So all of a sudden, I'm in a totally new spot, got to get a new job, got to make new friends, learn a new language. But at that point, I had a determination. I didn't want to spend my time doing any job that wasn't teaching me something to lift my life. I wanted to get out of dead-end jobs. I didn't want to be in a job where I was just working for the man, you know, working for the clock. I wanted something that would lift and elevate me, kind of like what we have here. I mean, think about the opportunity that we have here. You sign up for an almost nothing fee and you immediately get a mentor. You immediately get to join a community where you get to meet every Saturday morning with like-minded people who are trying to change their lives. And that's all free, right? On top of that, you get to join a health program that helps you transform your own health. You get to make friends. You get to go to events and rub shoulders with successful people. I mean, this type of a program, if you were to go somewhere and try and pay for it, I had a corporate executive that came to one of our events and he came out of the event and he said to me, man, I've paid tens of thousands of dollars to go to these corporate training programs. And the value that I got from there was nothing like what I got at these events and these Saturday morning trainings. And those are free. And not only that, but I get to build my own business at the same time. So I was 15. I was looking for a job, trying to figure out what can I do where I could learn something. And I was really interested in martial arts, jiu-jitsu actually. And I was living in Japan. So I got a job at a jiu-jitsu dojo, right? I was okay getting paid a little bit because I was learning something. And that's kind of you know, at the beginning of this business, you don't make a lot of money, right? But you do get to feel the transformation of learning something. So I'd go to that dojo every morning. I'm embarrassed to admit that I clocked in on that job, but I was clocking in on a job where I was learning something. I can still smell that dojo. You had these tatami mats, they're made out of rice fibers, and I can still smell it, right? I can still feel what it's like to dress up in the clothing and learn the routines that you learn through that. So I was doing something where I was learning and growing. When you first join this business, you don't make a lot of money because it's 100% performance based, but you do learn a ton. You learn a ton. I'm going to fast forward a little bit because I moved from there to Canada. We got a lot of Canadians on the call. I actually graduated from high school in Ottawa. I'd get up in the morning because I just had this habit of getting up real early. It's so cold in the wintertime. My eyelashes would freeze. You can't even close your eyes, right? Your nose starts to crackle because everything inside your nose freezes. That was a fun experience, right? And again, I went and I found a job where I would learn something. I was very interested in horses, but I kind of had this mindset where I always wanted to do something that was really hard. I'd sold newspapers as an 11-year-old and I made about $200 a month, right? As an 11-year-old, that's a lot of money. But now as a 16-year-old, I needed to kind of step it up. I needed to make more than $200 a month. So one morning I was like, man, I got to do something hard, something that because I was kind of shy back then. And I had this crazy idea and I decided to go sell vacuums, big, heavy vacuums door to door, because it's a $600 vacuum and I could make $200 a sale, right? So in one sale, I can make more than I made in an entire month. One sale, not unlike what we do. I mean, I see people that join this business and after a couple months of really digging in, all of a sudden they're making more in 1 week than they ever made in a month, sometimes more than 2 months. But this is a tough thing. I had to go knock on a door to someone I didn't know with a heavy vacuum, weighed about 20 pounds on my shoulder. I'd have to get into their living room and do this demonstration to show them how amazing this vacuum was. And then I'd have to get him to write a check. And I'm 16 years old, right? It was pretty tough. It was grueling in the beginning because I had to learn the speech. I had to learn the routine. I had to learn how to interact with people and make them feel comfortable. I had to be okay talking to people I didn't know, but I got really good at it. And you don't know how exhilarating it is to spend a day talking to people you don't know and have one of them resonate with the message and say, I want that. I want a clean home. You're solving a problem that I've had for a long time. I am willing to invest. I'm willing to invest in something that's going to make my life better. And I'd sign them up on a contract and they would be so happy that they have this vacuum that's going to last for 25 years with amazing warranty, not unlike what we're sharing with people. Top quality, super effective, 100% satisfaction guaranteed. And they'd write me a check and I'd walk out just feeling like I was walking on clouds. I just made I made more in one day than I used to make in a month. These are the experiences in my life that led me up to getting in the trenches, catching the dream of network marketing, wanting to preserve my own health and build my own business. Build a business that has unlimited upside, that will take me all over the world and let me experience and meet with people who have been there and done that. You know, people that I just want to be close to, like Brent Palmer. He's in the next room right next to me. I love Brent Palmer. Next time you see Brent Palmer, give him a big hug because there's some power there. Now, these guys are inspiring. They just take us to the next level. So I started into network marketing when I was 25. I had grown up as a teenager in Japan, so I spoke Japanese. And once again, I was ready to do something hard. I wanted to challenge myself. So I had no money. I was a college kid. I'd made pretty good money through sales going through college, but I was debt free. You know, I didn't take out a student loan, so I had a lot of freedom. There's something super, super exhilarating and free about being debt free. It opens up all kinds of doors. And that's something this business can help us achieve. Step one, get debt free. Step two, have some global experiences. Go out and experience the world. So that's where I was at. I was at that inflection point where I wanted to have some global experiences. So I packed up my suitcase and I went to Japan. And someday I want to tell you that whole journey, that 25-year journey. But the point that I want to emphasize today is I know what it takes to build a company that lasts. I know what it takes to be consistent, to work towards your dream every single day consistently, and to feel that confidence in your heart that the company that you're building is on a solid foundation, that's built on principles that will last. And you can put your heart and soul into something and look back 25 years later and thank God and just be full of gratitude that it lasted. And that's our future. That's our future. Now, I'm going to bring you on my great, great friend, my good friend, Darren Zobrist. Okay, Darren and I have been friends together for a number of years now. We live in the same neighborhood in Puerto Rico. That's my dream. You know, I'm living my dream right now. I'm living my dream. A lot of the leaders on this call, they're living their dream. I want every single one of you to live your dream. Darren's living his dream. I kind of drug him into this. Okay, I drug him into this because I'm used to doing $600 sales. I'm used to doing $150 subscription sales, but this time I raised the bar. I had to do a $28 million sale. Okay, I had to get Darren involved, and I'll tell you the backstory some other time. But what's the first thing that you want to do when you're trying to get someone involved in this business? You want them to feel it, right? You want them to meet the people. You want them to meet the people. So what did I do? I convinced Darren to get on a plane with me and go to Barcelona, Spain. Why Barcelona, Spain? Because we were doing a company event in Barcelona, Spain, and 2,000 people were going to be in the room. 2,000 people are going to be in the room. And I knew that Darren could feel the people. Because what's this business about? It's about people. Darren, do you remember that? We were scrambling, right? We didn't have plane tickets. It was like the day before.
Day
We were trying to
before.
figure out, how are we going to get plane tickets? Because you know how hard it is to get travel right now. Everything's clogged up, and we're trying to figure out, do we need a COVID test? What do we have to do to get in? It was high speed stakes, right? But I knew I had to let him feel the people, right, Darren?
That was 30 days ago, right? Right about
30
now, 30
days.
days ago this weekend. At this point in my life, what really, really gets me excited is an investment that allows me to combine investing with seeing people's lives change. When I joined John in Barcelona, it actually changed my life. As I saw leaders get up there on that stage and tell their stories, as I talked to people that were in the crowd, tell their stories about what they were doing before, what they're doing now, how they came into the business, and how this business changed their lives. My favorite story is this one guy, Mario. He got up on the stage and he talked about, he grew up in a very, very humble circumstances in Italy, in this dumpy little apartment, dingy, no view out the window but the next building. And he had this dream from the time he was a little kid of having a beautiful window that he could look out onto a garden with a nice scenery and just have this beautiful view. And he had that from the time that he was a kid, and he always held that dream in his heart, and he kept trying and trying to achieve that dream. He went through business after business. He tried several entrepreneurial ventures. Every one of them failed. 15 years of trying to start something that would give him that dream, that would help him achieve that dream. And it was only when he found this business that he was ultimately able to achieve that dream. He's like, it wasn't easy. He's like, in this business, it was hard. This was no get rich quick. This was not going to be an easy thing. But he said it took him 5 years of working day after day after day in this business. But eventually, he became a great success. He showed us his picture up on the big screen of his apartment now, with his big, beautiful window looking out over this incredible city that he lives in Italy. And he achieved his dream. He walked us through how he remembers when he got his first, the first month where he made $10,000. And he was talking to us about what that was like. And he's like, do you know what that is to earn $10,000 in a month? He kind of added it up and he's like, what kind of an asset do you have to have that would give you $10,000 a month? He's like, you'd have to have $5 million, $7 million in the bank to give you a return of $10,000 a month. He's like, within 5 years, I had built up my business to the point where I was making $10,000 a month, which was the equivalent of having a $5 to $7 million in the bank. He's like, there is no way anywhere where you could achieve that kind of success other than in this business. And when I saw how this company was changing people's lives, how it allowed people to grow and build and change their financial futures, people got up there and told of their health transformations. I'll talk about this plenty, and we'll have lots of time to get to know each other. But about 2 years ago, I was going through some really difficult health challenges. I was having high blood pressure. I was starting to get high cholesterol, and I was on the border of being pre-diabetic. And I'm 51 now. I was 49, just about ready to turn 50 at the time, and that's a scary thing to be facing with that. And I'm young. I'm looking at my future and thinking, what does this mean for me if I've got these health problems? And I decided that something had to change. I had to do something about it. I decided that I had to lose a bunch of weight. Doctor sat me down and said, look, we can put you on a bunch of prescription medications, or you can focus on your health. And he said, those are the two ways to go. But if you don't do something, you're not going to live a long, healthy life. And so I decided to focus on my health. And within 6 months, I'd lost 50 pounds. And I achieved that. And that was, if you can believe it, I achieved the weight that I was when I graduated from college. And that was a year and a half ago. And I've been able to keep that by focusing every day on how I eat, my health. You should see the handful of supplements that I take every day to make sure I stay healthy and to help me maintain my weight and maintain my blood sugar and cholesterol. And every single day I've been focused on that. So when I learned about this business there in Barcelona, saw the changes of everybody's life, saw the not only the financial change, the health change, which I could really relate to, I just told John, I've got to be involved in this business. And I became a huge investor in this business. And in doing so, and in getting to meet all of the different brand partners out there that I've met in the last 30 days, and heard their dreams and heard their aspirations and heard what they're trying to achieve in their lives, their dreams became my dreams. What they want for their lives became what I want for their lives. And this making an investment in this company has allowed me to be able to do that, to take your dreams on as my dreams, to help each of you change your health, change your financial future. And there's nothing that is more exciting to me than being part of this company right now.
That's what's so amazing. What's so amazing is, and you'll get to next week, we're going to go through an entire communication broadcast around the world. We're a worldwide organization. You guys realize that we're in 60 countries around the world? We have people just like you, meeting just like we are, on probably 50 different Zooms today, talking about the future. And we're going to continue this through next week, and you'll get to hear from Deanna and Cam and Ian and Isham and Joseph over in Japan and all of these top executives that you know and love, who will be talking
Christine.
about our amazing future. Christine, I
Yeah,
might have seen Christine on the call today. I hope Christine's on the call. And guess what we're talking about? We're talking about what an exciting day this is to be an amazingly stable company that's built to last, who we can lock our lives to and lean in every single day and build something that's forever, and build a community that other people can come and join and go through transformations like Darren did himself. We don't talk about our blood tests, but Darren actually showed me his blood work, the before and after, and his doctor cannot believe it. He just got tested. When was that, Darren? Like 6 weeks ago?
yeah, yeah.
And his health is off the charts now.
Yeah,
Right?
I'm in the lowest risk category in every possible category. And my doctor's like, what have you done? Please, I want to have all of my patients do it.
And that's what we're helping people do. We have top quality products. Deanna is the gatekeeper to make sure that these products are top quality. We have programs that each of you are innovating around and that you're helping people do on a daily basis so that they can live their best lives, no matter how old they are. And we have an opportunity to kind of get out of the rat race and get out of the rut and build something that you own, that you can live on and experience the freedom that comes from being part of an organization like we have here. Brent Palmer, Todd Rowland, Chris Doyle, every one of those guys has been there, done that, and they can show us how to do it. They can show us how to do it. John and Christy Oakey, Deb and Ken Schneider, Ken Bailey. These are superstars that we get to spend time with and let them rub off on us so that we have the daily grit to just be consistent and take advantage of wonderful, wonderful opportunities. Now, I said before that you're part of a worldwide organization, and we want to make that fact a little more real in your life. So one of the first things that we want to do at the company level is start connecting you with groups all over the world that are doing Zooms and events so that you can have the big vision picture of what we really stand for. We've got hundreds of thousands of brand partners all over the world that are transforming their own lives. And I want you to feel that energy and feel that confidence and feel the message that we're sharing with everyone. So we're excited. Look for some amazing communications that come out next week that will paint a picture for you. We're happy to spend time with anyone. I hear that people are gearing up to come into Utah in a week or so from now, and we'd love to sit down and just spend time with you. And the executives that you know and love will be here with open arms to spend time with you and let us feel each other and plan our future together.
It was this past week, having Todd, Chris, Brent, and Ken all out here and a bunch of other leaders was incredible. Spending time with the leaders who are out in the field, helping us map out the great things that are to come for this future, for the company, the future of this company. We have incredible leaders out there, the ones sponsoring this call and lots of others that are out there. And we are here to support you in your visions, to help you build your businesses, and being able to spend time with you planning the future of the company is what we need more of, and we will continue to do that. We're open to whatever anyone needs to help them build their businesses. That's what we're here to provide.
Darren, I've got one question for you. I do want to point out, though, we ask them some real important stuff. Is the Bill of Rights going to remain? Yes, with more teeth. Is the Founders Club going to remain? Yes, more defined and even better. Is the pay plan ever going to change? Never. Darren said it himself. He studied the industry, and every company that's ever changed a comp plan always regresses, and the owners end up being the biggest one screwed. So everything anybody's thinking, products remain the same and even get better. And now we got the handcuffs off. We can keep on developing in Deanna's team. But here's what I want to point out. I changed my background over to Kim Gray because during the last 8 weeks we've been in this mess, or 4 weeks with the Chapter 11 that the company went through, Kim hit her $10,000 bonus check. And Darren, you said something really powerful because you're a finance guy and you went through the chapter 11 and you said there's only one winner in a chapter 11. And that was the rep base. We're the only ones that got paid. Would you mind sharing that with everybody?
Yeah. So basically what happened during this reorganization process, we made an investment in the company, and that investment was to make sure that 100% of the time, all of the brand partners got paid and that they felt that stability and that they could count on and rely on that from us coming in as a new investors, that they knew that we put them first and we put them before anybody else. And that was our very first goal, was to make sure that the brand partners were taken care of. And that's what we did. Before we even started planning out the future of the company, our first goal was to make sure that the brand partners were taken care of.
That's the coolest thing about this business, is who has the best economic spot in this company? It's the brand partners. Okay, the brand partners have over 50% of the company, right? And they get paid first. There's a scenario where the company loses money, but the brand partners still get paid. You are in an amazing, amazing spot in this company. But that's because you are the company. We, the brand partners, are the company.
Brent, you want to chime in? I've been trying to get Brent to, he's out there with them, so.
Absolutely. Chris is mad that I didn't wear my Alabama shirt today, and so he could rag me more. But you know, one of the things that I want to touch on that's probably questions, and you might have said this earlier, but I want to reiterate. John, same fantastic products. Yes?
Absolutely. We got the best products on the planet, and we're going to bring even more.
John, maybe you can touch on, a lot of people out there is doing the Renew system of growth, really having a lot of growth there. Nothing changes. Absolutely nothing. More to come, but nothing changes.
Right. So here's, I sent out this, I wrote down, put my feelings down. I sent it out to a couple top leaders because we're at an inflection point again in our own business. And Brent's a champion of this. First thing that we need is unity. Unifying around a cohesive story. Once we have those two elements that make our hearts and our energies come together, then we need systems. And what system's working right now? Brent Palmer and Tracy Turnberg spent 3-4 days driving hundreds of miles around the Western US to do training meetings in Colorado and Wyoming to train people on the Renew system. This Renew system is simple. It's effective. It's something that you can wake up in the morning, have a goal for that day, and do it and get results immediately. These type of simple systems are the tools that we want to give you so that you can take those feelings in your heart and that dream and translate it into activity that you do every single day. So yes, Brent, those systems, we want those systems to continue and to even get better with time.
Absolutely. And another thing is just the continuation of, the paychecks on Friday, helping people make it from paycheck to paycheck. It's what it's all about. I know you and Darren, the subscribe and save, I've had questions about, is anybody going to go off subscribe and save? And you guys have answered that question. Nothing will change in your business. Business flows, correct?
That is
Right.
Absolutely right. Nothing changes. We just have a solid foundation company that's going to last. That's the best part of this message today.
All right. Last question for me. And Chris, I'll turn it to you. A lot of people's asking, I don't know what you can say on it right now, but company name.
Company name. So we had top leaders in, and there's a pretty strong sentiment amongst the top leaders that we want to take full advantage of this turning point in our future to come up with some really fresh branding, maybe a really fresh name that we can all rally around, something that defines our future. Not only that, but just imagine if we can position it like this, okay? What if we take our time just kind of exactly defining our branding and our name, and we build some pressure, and it's like a relaunch, but we're a solid company with existing organizations all over the world, but we can still position it as kind of a relaunch, position it as a new beginning, position it to where the pressure's building and we're talking to people and they're getting so excited, and we're not only re-energizing everyone that's already here, but we're also attracting new people. And then we come out with this huge announcement all over the world and people just start flocking to us. I mean, think of that, because that's what we're working towards, and we need all of your help to make this happen.
Oh, that's awesome.
Some of the people have been asking the questions, and I thought we addressed it earlier. No, we will not be a publicly traded company going forward. Now, all that's how it's all going to work out, but that's some of the bureaucracy that has caused us problems. We don't, we all heard different stories on that, and I don't think we can get those all addressed this morning on how that's going to play out, but understanding that the doors are open. I mean, they have made it very clear that anybody that wants information direct, and we're going to do more Zooms on that information. But guys, the bureaucracy, I don't think if anybody's been here for 2.5 years, Deb and Ken, I know you could chime in on this because y'all came from the city. All of our brands are staying intact. All the things you love product-wise are staying intact. Our comp plan is staying intact. But let's face facts, as much as we got excited about the stock and what it could do, and I was one of them, let's face it, the bureaucracy of what that did to us. I mean, they couldn't even get a website fixed. That wasn't anybody's fault. That wasn't like the RX team's fault or the Miranda's team's fault. It was the bureaucracy of what went on with and I'm not going to sit here and point fingers at board members. We all know that we had a CEO that got terminated, so that's obvious that he was causing problems. I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus by calling names, but the point is the company is in a most exciting position in my views that it can be, because what we just said, and that was we're going to be privately held again. Decisions can be made by people who know what's going on instead of it being a channel. I call it the government. Freak, they don't get nothing done. It's always stuff. Now we can get that past us. I'm pumped about
Hey,
that.
Chris, maybe even something that's, it's a little out there, but before we ask a question, I mean, before we said a word, the first thing Darren said, shouldn't we get this to like an Amazon one-click sale? And then they said, one of our top guys that's helped us pull this $28 million together builds IT companies and sells them. And then come to find out Cameron knew him and like, dude, this guy's like the smartest IT guy I know. And he's already out there consulting with the IT group. So, we all know that we all would like our websites and signups and shopping to all be more user friendly. So anything you want to say on that, Darren or John?
I do. I want to echo what Chris said. There are huge benefits to being private. The biggest benefit is we can make long-term decisions. When you're a public company, you're hamstrung. You got to make short-term decisions, quarter by quarter by quarter. And that doesn't serve us. That doesn't serve us in the field. How are we served in the field? We're served by long-term decisions that build a stable future to where when we get to that point in life where we just want to sit on the boat where Chris Doyle and just make every day count, we can feel reassured that our kids are taken care of. That's what we want. And the only way you can get there is to be private. And guess what? We're private.
Yeah, that's one of the, aside from the changing people's lives and the financial stability that it brings to people's lives, this business and their health changes, what providing a very stable platform that will let people build something that will last for generations. That's something that is just the top A1 #1 goal for me. Because I know everybody's been through a lot with things that have gone on with the company, and taking the company private was the only way for us to really provide for that very, very long-term investment that it takes for you all to build generational wealth. And that's our goal. And the private company structure is what lets us have the flexibility to make those long-term decisions and those long-term investments.
So everyone who can make it next week when they're organizing the trip to come back, please come in. please come in and spend time with us and feel what we're feeling and become a part of this dream that you're already a part of. But just bolster your confidence in the future so that you feel 100% confident to go out and build your own dream, because that's what we're all doing together.
Hey, Chris, this is Ken. Can I say something that
Absolutely.
briefly was touched on, but I think it's extremely important. And that is the fact that Deanna Latson is still the gatekeeper of the products. She's also leading marketing up, and a lot of messaging is going to be coming this week from Deanna and her team to the field. And also Cameron Bott, still running North America. Christine McKay running the US. There's a new manager in Canada. Guys, these people we know and trust and have known for 10 years plus, they're still here. Yes, Darren and John have to earn your trust, and they understand that, and they will. I'm totally believe that. But just know those people all the way down to maybe the most important people at all is our rep support team. Omar, Maria, Taylor, Crystal, Kevin, they're still here. Because as we said when we were on our trip there, Chris, no matter what decisions we make in that room or they make, good, bad, indifferent, if we've got somebody day to day that we can trust, that can take care of a customer, a shipping issue, a commissions issue, a placement issue, we can get through it. I mean, we've done it for the last 2 years plus, right? We've got all those people, and I cannot be more thankful. One thing that hasn't been mentioned, when these guys were putting all this together, they mentioned they were from Puerto Rico. Hurricane Fiona hit in the middle of all that. Their airports were, they haven't been home, I think, for 5 or 6 weeks.
Yes.
Right.
Nice. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you.
I'll
Yeah,
tell you a
and
little
Deb-
secret. We've been living out of a carry-on for 5 or 6 weeks. So if you guys come in and I'm wearing the same clothes every day, that's why. I'm sorry, but we're just heads down trying to make this.
Deb, you might speak to the new general manager that they've already got hired up in Canada, what kind of experience she has and how excited you guys are about it.
You know, we're really excited about everything. And we've gone away this weekend to reset our goals. We know today is the beginning of something massive, huge. Mark this day down and really start to make your goals. And one of our goals is we would love a conference in Puerto Rico, just by the way. We would
Great.
love to see your country. And that's what
It's a great spot.
Oh, can't wait. So, you know, we learned years ago, I have lists of questions, of course, and so you can, but here's what I know. Here's what I learned in the industry quite a few years ago. It's not what you know that people join, it's how you make them feel. And I don't know about anybody else on this call. We're all full of emotion and we actually see something that we really, really believe in, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, going from public back to private, I mean,
It's huge.
that's huge. It's in your guys' hands now, and just listening to you, John, talk, I mean, that's network marketing. What
Yeah.
you just described, that's the dream that I remember
That's
my
why we're
brothers
here.
being involved in 1984, and that's what they heard about network marketing, about being free, having the freedom to do this, to go here, to do anything. That's network marketing. That's why we joined, and I seen them, and that's why we got involved in 2006. It's just the dream. And you were bang on, John, just the way you were talking. That's the network marketing dream. And that's why it's so exciting that we're moving forward with Darren and John and all these great leaders that are on here today. Brent Palmer, thank you for keeping us in the loop. I mean,
Todd,
you know,
Chris,
Todd, Chris,
James,
everybody, James, yes, you've
Always.
been, you know, Anthony, behind the scenes guy, but very important. This is what we're about. Ken Bailey, same thing.
Yeah.
Todd Rowland, I mean, we have it all. And
we unite.
yes, we come together now, forget about the past, look to the future.
And one thing I do want to point out is, because I know there's 300 of us, so there's no way we can open up questions today, but we will all be doing Zooms all this week. So anybody that wants a Zoom for you and your personal team, reach out to whoever your leader is, whether that's Chris, me, Ken, Brent, Deb. They'll have access to get, if you need to ask John something directly, they'll have access to pull them in on Zoom. Obviously, they're very busy. May not be, you can do it one day this coming week because they're wrapping everything up. But we can get you, everybody will get you direct access. You can ask John And Darren, we nailed them. Every question that we wanted answers. We know everybody else has the same question because we're all here building a future. So today's just not that day, but we will get that done. So don't think we're not ignoring anyone this morning. I just want everybody to understand that. This is just we'd never get done today. And Tennessee and Alabama play in just a minute. That's a big deal here in the Southeast.
Well, and let me, I want to add to that, Todd. A lot of people, have been putting a lot of things in the chats. Listen, guys, this is all things that we've been asking, and you're going to hear about over the next coming days. You're going to hear, I just told you when we started the call, there's going to be a lot of your questions that get answered over the next several days. This just finalized yesterday. So when you're asking about, I see somebody said, what about Mark? Nobody's avoiding anything. This thing finalized yesterday. Here's the beauty of this. You're the keeper of your own business here, right? I love this. We're in business for ourselves, but not by ourselves. I'm looking for a company that's debt-free, profitable, ready to grow, ready to expand around the world, and got products that impact lives, and they can pay us every week. That's what I look for when I look in a company, and executives that have got experience. And you know what? We're going to find more and more out to come. I'm excited about that. Todd, Chris, Ken, and Deb, all of you guys excited about the future.
100%. Whatever. I'm just going to point back behind me that the check there was signed from a CEO that had been with the company 3 years ago. But I promise you one thing: when the check was presented to Kim Gray, what she cared about is that she got her check. That's what mattered to Kim Gray. That's what matters to Todd Rowland. That's what matters to everybody on here. Can I sell the product? Does the product work? Does my paychecks come accurately on time? And is anything going to change? Is it going to be there for my grandkids? That's the questions. And all I can tell you is the proof's in the pudding, because I've been paid the last 4 weeks, and so is everybody on this call that has a business. And some of you have been paid rather handsomely. As a matter of fact, some of you have actually. I've got a big team. Matter of fact, I've got to mention them. David Daltrey. John. This is Darren. This is something you should hear because you're new. If we could highlight David, I'm going to let David, I need you to tell this. Do it in a 30-second version. But David had been building here for 3 years, but before finding our company, he lived a very unhealthy life and had several heart attacks. They put stents in it. So here he'd gotten very healthy, but his stents gave out, and he had to have triple bypass surgery 3 weeks ago. And David did not think he would make it through surgery. He very weak heart from that situation. But he's a physical therapist, so he had to go on leave. They didn't pay him. Short-term disability was a fraction of what he's used to making. But David's paychecks, because of Kim Gray driving his business, he's had 4 in a row of the biggest paychecks that he's ever had in the company. And he literally him and Amy started crying at our meeting Thursday night, because if he hadn't had these checks, he doesn't know what he would do. But even bigger than that, one lady in the room had carried $1,000 worth of cash and groceries over to the house. Everybody had been giving money. So not only is the company paying, but the family that we built swooped in and took care of them in their time of need. So what we do here is we just need this thing working. And because it absolutely changes our lives, and it changes it to a degree that nothing else in the world can do it.
Hey, Todd, you mentioned at the start of the call a couple that had sponsored 10 people in the last 3 weeks.
Yes, BJ and Perry, they're out of Andalusia. They're with Michael, who is one of the, he knows the pay plan better than I do, and he's only been in 3 days. And I always said you had to be a nuclear engineer to figure out Michael's a nuclear engineer. He knows it. But yeah, BJ and Perry.
I'd love to recognize them. This business is all about recognition, and it's about all of us feeding off each other and letting their success be ours. Let's recognize them.
Yeah.
Awesome job.
Good job, guys.
Hey, I got it, John. I'm gonna be in huge trouble because there's a girl down there named Eva and her husband Michael who've also sponsored 10. So I just got to say that, 'cause they were both in the same room on Thursday night. They're kind of in a race right now, chasing some money that Jerry Halsey put up. So they're fighting over it down there like
that's awesome.
Like maniacs.
I mean, that's the activity that everyone can do all in. You can go all in and do that kind of activity because we're at the stage now where what we need is activity.
David, after Todd called, he never gave you time to talk. So, these Ole Miss fans are, wound up about Auburn, so they can't even think. So now I get to call a Florida fan that I never thought I'd be friends with. So, David, why don't you finish that up that after Todd never gave you the opportunity? Give him a
I
hard
never saw him pop up. I apologize, David.
I noticed he wanted me to talk and I was muted. I couldn't unmute. But anyway, yeah, this company, I didn't realize 3 years ago when we joined what a blessing it would be. I always tell people God answered our prayers before we knew we even needed to pray them. But it's like Todd said, I've been out of work for 4 weeks, well, 5 weeks now, because I couldn't work the week ahead of time because of chest pain. But Todd's right. Kim Gray has been a saint. She has driven our business while we have not been able to. And our paychecks have doubled. I promise you my short-term disability didn't double. And then the community, Todd mentioned the community. So many people have come together and helped us that they just don't understand what they mean to us. They are literally family. I love so many people in this company that we have met all over the world. Couldn't imagine my life without it. So if you're new here, I'm telling you, you're in the right place. You're with people that care and are like-minded, and you just give it time and stick with it, and you will see the friendships, the family, and the love that just pours into you. So thank y'all so much for everybody that has helped us and invested in us.
Well, we're actually run over our time. We know we try to keep these within an hour, and we're going to kind of shut this down. I think I want to make sure that we reiterate something. This is just completed yesterday. And we actually debated whether or not we should even ask these guys to get on. So there's so many questions coming that, yes, a lot of us have been out there and heard these. We want you to have all your questions answered. It's just going to take a little time. It was a little pushy to get these. I mean, honestly, I debated, Brent and I did, and Todd, we thought, do we want to do this today? With these, and they were gracious enough so that y'all make the call, we'll do it. But let's face it, I mean, this is quick, guys. I mean, there's a lot of questions to be answered. But the most important question is what we've said, the things that you want in to hear. Guys, Mark Wilson said, I mean, in tears in his eyes, how gracious and grateful he was for what's happening. He was very much said that to us. So, I mean, we have so many people that we love. We talked about the family. There is no question. That's what we are. We hadn't even recognized Aaron and Ginger Decker. I mean, they're my family. I mean, those are people that I've loved for 15, 20 years. Guys, we went through some mess. The question is how you decide to emerge from it. And I have been through mess. I can assure you, there ain't nobody can tell you I've been through some, and it ain't this one. This last 2 years was something. It ain't nothing like it was when I lost everything. It was not what, and that's why I understand. And that key was, I don't want to add one thing. Guys, the word bankruptcy sounds really awful. That ain't what we were, it's called that, but it's actually a chapter 11 is called a reorganization. I've been through it. Mine didn't end up this way. My reorganization took me into a real bankruptcy because it didn't work. But we fortunately had somebody that came in and bought the company here that is putting money into it. And learn what's going on. If you're not pleased, guys, we're going to still love you. If you decide there's another company you want to be at, I'm going to call that straight out. If you want to be somewhere else, that is, we're going to love you anyway. But I am totally convinced with I've seen Darren's vision and what John's visions are, and they got in Darren. We haven't talked about yours, no offense, John, but we know you're a network marketer. Darren is a business guy. He is the true CEO qualified guy. He has run, folks, the kind of money he came up with is obvious. He has run mega companies. You don't just, I told my wife, I said, you don't just come up with $28 million in 48 hours unless you got some strong backing. I don't care who you are. I know some pretty powerful financial people. $28 million, a lot of money to come up with in 48 hours with faith, with limited knowledge. And some of the people that sold him on the idea were people that you already love. And I'm not going to say those things today. We're going to let those people speak for themselves. But I'm going to tell you something, guys. We're in a really good position. There's a lot of questions to be answered. Get your questions answered. If you don't like the answers, good news, you're free agent. No one here is owned by anybody. If you're happy with your answers, go build yourself what I've done. I mean, they talk about my boat. I'm here with you guys today, and I'm not going to the boat today. I didn't go to the Tennessee game today because I had 2 tickets in the skybox at the University of Tennessee today. You know what I wanted to be? I'd rather been on this Zoom with this group this morning because it's important. This Zoom's been going on for 6 years, every Saturday morning with 30 to 40 people. Then we've gone to 100. Now we're at 200. And obviously, most people are here to get answers. You're not going to get them all today, guys, but get them answered. Ask the tough questions. We did, and we've gotten the answers that we expected. Ken, Brent, anyone want to make a comment, you're welcome. Even Aaron, I mean, you've been made a co-host. Anybody wants to make a comment, we're going to close this out, but I don't want it to, we don't want you to feel like we're not trying to answer questions. There's just a lot to be told over the next week. You'll get them answered. Okay. Anybody?
I just want to end with gratitude. If no one else says anymore, I want to express gratitude for all of you, express gratitude for this community that we're a part of. I think every single one of you on this call today, you felt something. And now it's the time to translate that feeling into action. I'm going to let Todd Rowland give us a call to action, or Aaron Decker, or one of these great leaders that we have. Todd, Aaron, what's our call to action? We felt something today. What should we take that feeling and go do with it?
Aaron?
I don't know that he's
Actually, not Aaron, it's Ginger. Aaron wasn't able
Okay,
to.
Ginger.
But
we just
Okay.
say his name.
go ahead, Todd. You're good.
Okay, guys, you know, what I will tell you is it is now finalized. It's a new beginning. And when you get a new beginning, it's now in your hands. And I'll just kind of tailgate on what Chris said. My new beginning is right here because I've actually talked to 3 different owners of network marketing companies, but one we talked to for a really long time. They can't compete, not with a $300 million company that's just come out of a Chapter 11 restructuring and don't have any debt. That doesn't even make sense. Operating in 60 countries with all of this R&D and products already established and out there, we already know we've got the highest quality products in the world. So my call to action is, and I told the crowd this the other night with Kim Gray's check, they gave away the prizes, you know, where you tear the ticket when you come in the door. They must have gave away about 25 prizes that night. And you know, when somebody gets their ticket called and they get the prize carried over to them, everybody claps. But you really know deep down, although we're happy for them, you're really waiting, hoping there's another prize left, so they'll call your ticket number. So who really gets excited when the ticket number is called is the person who wins it themselves. Everybody clapped for Kim Gray when she got her $10,000 paycheck. We were all celebrating her Thursday night. But what really people were sitting there thinking is, what if that was going to my account? We're happy for Kim, but I need to change my life. I need to get out of debt. I need my credit cards paid off. I need my kids' college educations paid for. I need a new car. I need a new house. I want financial independence. I want freedom, all the things that this industry provides us. So my call to action to you, it's a new beginning. Go get that done for your family. Step by step, start tomorrow, and just don't quit on a bad day. They are going to come. Go all the way to the finish line and get set up for your life, and you become financially independent and live life on your terms.
Thank you, Todd. That's amazing. Thank all the hosts, everyone that brought everyone together. Thank you.
Thanks everyone for being on. And remember, there's going to be a lot of Zooms and information over the next week. Talk to the people, then call us. I'll be happy to answer questions personally until 2 o'clock. So got something.
Hey, let's
Thank
give
you.
Chris a roll tide when we open these lines.